Hello, this is Landon Ritchie from Design Visionaries, and in this video I'm going to show you the pattern feature with spreadsheet. To start, I have a speaker here I want to put a grill on. I've already created a little hole that I extruded into the speaker, a little dome surface that I generated, and I want to pattern that extruded hole across this dome surface, but I want to make sure that the holes that I make have a different size as they get farther away from the center. So to do that, I would go to Insert, Associative Copy, Pattern Feature. In the Pattern Feature window, it's asking me to select the feature that I want to pattern. I'm going to start by clicking the extruded hole that I generated, and I'm going to make sure that the layout is set to linear. I want to also specify a boundary definition, because sometimes when you're working on shapes that have a lot of curvature that use the same face, you may not want the pattern to go beyond that, but you want to get it as close to the edge as possible. So for this I'm going to go ahead and select face, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the face edges of this dome surface. Now that I have that selected, I want to go ahead and specify my first direction, which is going to be on the y-axis. I also want to make sure that symmetric is checked for this particular pattern, because I want the holes to go both directions. I also want that to happen on the second direction, which will be on the z-axis. And as you can see here, it has already generated the patterns. I've already set in the count and the span distances I want to use. I could probably pull this in a bit more. And now that I have that set up, you also notice that these are kind of in a diamond shape instead of just being straight up and down and horizontal. You can change that down here in the pattern settings. You can set it to stagger, and you can choose the direction that you want it to stagger in. Now, to make the holes different sizes as it's patterning away from the center, I actually have to use the spreadsheet command and edit the instance points. To do that, you can click right here, use spreadsheet, and what that does is that'll actually pull in the data from the extrude feature into Excel for each instance point. You'll see that I have my direction offset 1, my direction offset 2, and these are the distances it travels on both those offsets. I also have some of the features from extrude available. The one that I want to mess with though is the offset. And what I want to do is I want to make it bigger as it gets farther away from the center. And I know that direction 2 is my vertical, and I know that the greater it gets, the greater number it would be, whether positive or negative, the farther it is away from the center. 0 would be the very center, and 3 would be probably the farthest point. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, since the default value is 0.01, I'm going to go to like 2, and we're going to go ahead and change this to 0.1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down and copy, and I want to paste it over everything that's 2 or greater away from the center. So I just have to go down this spreadsheet and look for everything that is 2 or greater on my y offset and start pasting in the values. And this can be a little bit tedious, but it wouldn't take nearly as long to do this as if you had to extrude each of those holes manually, and I can only imagine what kind of nightmare that would be. So this actually takes a lot of time off your hands to make a really, really cool model. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste these in. It will take a few minutes, hopefully not. I'm already over halfway through. And Here's another set. Just making sure that we go from 2 and beyond is going to be 0.1, and everything before that is going to be 0.01. Here we are. I think I'm coming up on the last bit of it right now. It's the last bit right here. Alright, and one little bit right there. Alright, once you've put in the values that you want, you can actually hit close, and NX will actually recognize that the Excel has been closed and wants to ask you if you want to pull in the data. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. It's going to take all that data and cram it into the pattern feature. So it takes a second to parse all those instant points. And you'll actually notice that the instance points that you modified change. You'll see them as green cones here opposed to these kind of brown boxes that were there. So now that I put the pattern data in, I can hit OK, and then I'll let NX generate my instance points, which can take a little while depending on how many you have, and there does look like a lot here, so this may take a minute. Just getting toward the end now. Now it looks like it's cutting them all out. There you go. As you can see, the holes are very different as they get farther away from the center going vertically. And this is a really handy way to make really cool designs on a face using the pattern feature. If you tried doing radial, you could easily make a shower head or a smoke detector with some really cool patterns that stagger and get bigger as they get farther out. Again, this is Landon Ritchie from Design Visionaries, and this video was pattern feature using spreadsheet. For more training tips and tutorials, you can check us out at designvisionaries.com. You can also check out our tutorial website, nxtutorials.com, for cool videos. Thanks.